Let's solve the following problem by factoring. So here we're given a polynomial equation that we're expected to factor. Treat this almost pretty much like it's a quadratic equation. Make sure that all your terms are on one side, that it's set equal to 0, factor the problem. Now here, since we have two terms, these two terms do not fit the regular setup of factoring an equation that has two terms. It's not difference of squares, sum of cubes, difference of cubes, that kind of thing. But hopefully you do see we do have a GCF in this problem. That is how we're going to start by factoring this. Factor out the GCF. Out of 3 and 12, we do have a 3 in common. And out of x to the 4th, x squared, we have an x squared in common. Remember to take the lower exponent out of the 2. So 3x squared is our GCF. We're going to pull that out, and to figure out what we have left that's going to drop down in our parentheses, keep in mind we divide. So when we divide, 3 divided by 3 is a 1, which we do not need to write. X to the 4th over x squared gives us x squared. Drop down the minus sign. 12 over 3 is a 4. And x squared over x squared cancels. Once we have our problem in factored form, which we do, keep in mind a factor is just a multiplication, right? So we do have a multiplication here, 3x squared times x squared minus 4. Once it is in factored form, the zero factor property tells us, split up your factors, set them each equal to 0, and solve. So we have 3x squared that we will set equal to 0 and solve. And we have x squared minus 4 that we will also set equal to 0 and solve. Solve both of these equations. Over here, we're going to get a 0. Divide by 3, which gives us x squared is equal to 0. Take the square root, and we still get that x is equal to 0. That is our first solution. Solving this equation over here, let's add that 4 to each side, giving us x squared is equal to 4. And when we take that square root of each side, we get x is equal to plus or minus 2. Don't forget, when you take a square root, that is plus or minus. The only reason we didn't do that over here with the 0 is neither positive nor negative. So it makes no sense to put a plus or minus in front of 0. But if it's any number other than 0, you do need to have that plus or minus there. So our three solutions are a negative 2, a 0, and a positive 2, typically listed in order from smallest to biggest.